The cold sleep broke suddenly. Captain Jin-Ho gasped as the cryopod opened. Freezing air hit his lungs. His body hurt everywhere. Something was very wrong. The ship was not supposed to wake them for another 150 years. Red lights flashed on every screen. Alarms screamed through the metal halls of the Aurora. Jin-Ho pulled himself out of the pod. His legs were weak. He had been asleep for 50 years already. His crew was waking up around him. They looked scared and confused. Hana ran to her computer station. Her fingers moved fast across the controls. She was the best engineer on the ship. Jin-Ho trusted her more than anyone. Her face went white as she read the screens. "Captain," she said. Her voice shook. "We have a problem." The ship received a signal. A distress call. The computer woke us up because the signal triggered our emergency rules. Jin-Ho walked to the main screen. His muscles were still cold from the long sleep. He looked at the data. The signal came from a space station. It was close. Too close. They were supposed to be in empty space. "No one should be out here. Where are we?" Jin-Ho asked. "The outer perimeter," Hana answered. "The old maps say this area is dead space, no life. No planets, nothing." But the maps were wrong. Taemin rushed onto the bridge. He was young and smart. He worked with communications. He carried a data tablet in his shaking hands. "Captain, I translated the signal," Taemin said. "It is not human. It is alien. They are asking for help." The bridge went silent. Everyone stared at Taemin. Aliens. Real aliens. Humanity had searched for other life for hundreds of years. They found nothing. Then Earth started to die. The sun grew too hot. The oceans dried up. Humans built 12 huge ships to escape. 5 million people went to sleep in cryopods. They hoped to find a new world far away. Now they found something else. Someone else. "Play the message," Jin-Ho ordered. Strange sounds filled the bridge. The computer changed the sounds into words humans could understand. A voice spoke. It sounded afraid. "This is Elder Kina of the Valari people. We are under attack. The Kreth Dominion is destroying our home. 3 million souls will die if no one comes. Please, if anyone hears this, help us," the message repeated, over and over. The same scared voice. The same desperate words. Bora entered the bridge. She was the military commander. Tall and strong. Her eyes were hard. She had fought in Earth's last wars before the evacuation. She looked at the screens and understood the situation immediately. "How far?" Bora asked. 2 days at full speed," Hana answered. "We should not go," Hana added quickly. "Captain, we do not know these aliens." "We do not know who is attacking them. If we go there, we expose ourselves. We expose all of humanity. 5 million people are counting on us." Taemin stepped forward. His young face was full of emotion. "We have to help them," he said. "They are dying. We can save them." "We do not know what we are flying into," Hana argued. "This could be a trap. These Kreth could have weapons we cannot fight." Bora crossed her arms. She looked at Jin-Ho. "If we hide now, we will hide forever," Bora said. "Sooner or later, we will meet other species. Better to meet them on our terms. Show them humans are not weak." Sumi arrived last. She was the medical director. She had kind eyes, but she looked tired. Waking from cryo-sleep was hard on the body. "What about our people?" Sumi asked. "The ones still sleeping. If we fight and lose, they all die." Jin-Ho listened to them all. He was responsible for everyone. He remembered Earth. He remembered watching his planet burn. He remembered the children who did not make it onto the ships. He remembered promising to save humanity, to give them a future. But he also remembered being human, being good, being brave. His species did not survive by being cowards. "Send a message to all 12 ships," Jin-Ho ordered. "Wake the senior officers. We need to talk." 2 hours later, the captains of all 12 human colony ships met on a video call. They argued for a long time. Some wanted to help the aliens. Some wanted to run away. Some wanted to investigate first before deciding. Jin-Ho made his decision. It was not easy. It was not safe. But it was right. 3 ships will continue to our destination, Jin-Ho announced. If we do not return in 6 months, they will assume we are dead. They will find a new world and hide from all alien contact. The other 9 ships will answer the distress call. We will help the Valari. Many captains protested. They thought it was too dangerous. But Jin-Ho was the fleet admiral. His word was final. "Listen to me," Jin-Ho said. His voice was strong and clear. Humanity did not crawl out of caves to hide in the dark. We did not build cities and cross oceans to be afraid. Earth is gone, but we are still human. We still choose what kind of people we want to be." He paused. He looked at each captain on the screen. "Those people are calling for help. If we ignore them, we are saying human life matters, but alien life does not. I will not make that choice. I will not teach our children to be cruel. We will go, we will help them. And if we die trying, at least we die as humans, not as cowards." The other captains went quiet. Some nodded. Some looked away. But none argued anymore. The 3 ships that would continue the journey were chosen. They carried the youngest children, the most food, the best supplies. If the rescue mission failed, at least some humans would survive. The other 9 ships changed course. They flew toward the Valari station, toward the aliens who needed help. Toward an unknown enemy called the Kreth. Bora woke up more soldiers from cryosleep. Thousands of men and women who had been warriors on Earth. They needed to be ready. Hana worked on the weapons. The human ships were colony vessels, but they were also warships. Humanity had learned on Earth that sometimes you need to fight to survive. Taman kept listening to the alien distress call. He learned more about the Valari. They were peaceful traders. They had never hurt anyone. The Kreth were different. They were conquerors. They took worlds by force. They made slaves of anyone who did not fight back. Sumi prepared the medical bays. She did not know what alien biology looked like. She did not know if human medicine would work on the Valari. But she would try. She would save as many lives as she could. Jin-Ho stood on the bridge of the Aurora. He watched the stars. His decision was made. There was no going back now. In 2 days, humanity would meet another species for the first time. It would not be a peaceful meeting. It would be war, but humans knew war. They were good at it. Too good, maybe. Earth had been covered in weapons and soldiers. Humans fought each other for thousands of years. They learned every trick, every strategy, every way to kill. Now they would use those skills for something good. To protect the weak, to stop evil, to be heroes. The 9 human ships flew through the dark. Their engines burned bright. Inside each ship, millions of humans slept. They did not know that everything was about to change. They did not know that their species was about to become famous across the galaxy. On the bridge, Jin-Ho gave one final order before they arrived. All weapons online. All shields at full power. Wake every soldier. Load every gun. When we arrive, we show these Kreth what humans are made of. We show them that we do not run from bullies. We fight them, Bora smiled. It was not a kind smile. It was the smile of a warrior ready for battle. "Yes, Captain," she said. "Let us teach them why Earth was called a death world." The countdown began. 2 days until contact. 2 days until humanity announced itself to the galaxy. 2 days until the Kreth learned that they had made a terrible mistake. They thought the Valari were alone. They were wrong. Help was coming. And it was carrying guns. The 9 human ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel. What they saw made everyone sick. The Valari station was huge. It floated in space near a dying star, but it was dying too. Parts of it were on fire. Big holes were torn in the metal walls. Dead bodies floated in the dark around it. 6 alien warships circled the station like sharks. They were firing weapons at the station. Bright beams of energy hit the protective shields. The shields were weak. They flickered with each hit. Maybe 1 more hour and the shields would break. Then everyone inside would die. Hana studied the alien ships on her computer. She frowned. "Those are the Kreth warships," she said. "Their technology is old, very old. But they have more ships than us and bigger weapons." The Kreth noticed the human ships immediately. A message came through. Taman put it on the speakers. An alien voice spoke. It was rough and mean, unknown ships. Identify yourselves. This is Kreth territory. Leave now or be destroyed. Jin-Ho looked at his crew. They all looked back at him. He had made his choice. Now he had to follow through. Taman, open a channel, Jin-Ho ordered. Taman pressed buttons. A light turned green. Jin-Ho spoke clearly. This is Captain Jin-Ho of the human fleet. We are claiming protection rights for the Valari under ancient galactic law. You have 1 hour to leave. If you do not leave, there will be consequences. Silence. Then the Kreth commander laughed. It was a horrible sound, humans. Never heard of you. Your ships look like garbage. Your weapons are toys. Leave now, little humans. This is your only warning. Bora leaned close to Jin-Ho. She whispered, They think we are weak. Good. Let them think that. Jin-Ho nodded. He spoke into the microphone again. His voice was cold. You have 5 minutes to pray to whatever gods you worship. After that, you die. Jin-Ho cut the transmission. Bora stood up. All ships battle formation, Bora commanded. Target their engines first, then their weapons. No mercy. The human ships moved into position. They did not look like warships. They were big and slow. They carried millions of sleeping people inside. But looks were wrong. These ships were built for war. Every human colony ship was also a fortress. Earth had taught humanity to always be ready to fight. The 5 minutes ended. The Kreth attacked first. Bright plasma beams shot across space. They hit the human ships. The Aurora shook from the impact. Alarms rang. Damage report, Jin-Ho called out. Hull armor holding, Hana reported. Minor damage. Nothing serious. The Kreth had expected the human ships to break apart. Instead, the human ships barely noticed the attack. Human armor was different. It was made from the last metals of a dying planet. It was thick and heavy and strong. Earth had run out of so many things, but it still had iron and steel. Return fire, Bo-Ra ordered. The human ships opened fire. Railguns launched metal slugs at incredible speed. Nuclear missiles screamed through space. Kinetic harpoons big enough to pierce asteroids flew toward the Kreth ships. The Kreth had never seen weapons like this. Their shields were made to stop energy beams. They could not stop solid metal moving at near light speed. The railgun slugs punched right through the shields. They tore through the Kreth armor like paper. One Kreth warship exploded. Just like that. 3 minutes into the battle and it was gone. The other Kreth ships tried to dodge. They were too slow. A second ship took a nuclear missile to its engine. The explosion was bright enough to light up the entire system. On the Valari station, Elder Kina watched through her view screen. She could not believe what she was seeing. The Valari knew about war. They had studied it for centuries. Space battles were supposed to be slow and careful. Ships stayed far apart. They used shields and energy weapons. Battles lasted for hours or days. These humans fought like animals, like predators. They closed the distance. They rammed damaged ships. They aimed for weak points with scary accuracy. This was not how civilized species fought. This was brutal and savage and effective. The Kreth commander tried to organize his ships. But the humans did not give him time. Small human fighter craft launched from the colony ships. Hundreds of them. They were fast and small. The Kreth could not track them all. Human pilots flew their fighters with no fear. They attacked from all directions. They targeted Kreth sensors. They fired at communication arrays. They cut Kreth ships off from each other. Without coordination, the Kreth fleet fell apart. 12 minutes. That was how long the battle lasted. 12 minutes and 4 Kreth warships were destroyed. 2 more were disabled, drifting in space with no power. The Kreth commander tried to surrender. We surrender.
Stop firing!
We surrender. Bora looked at Jin-Ho. He nodded. Cease fire, Bora ordered. Boarding teams, prepare to take the enemy ships. Be careful. We do not know what these aliens can do. Human soldiers put on their armor. They carried guns and blades. They boarded the damaged Kreth ships. What they found surprised them. The Kreth were not that big. They were actually smaller than humans. They had hard shells like insects, but they were weak. Their bodies could not take much damage. The Kreth soldiers tried to fight, but human soldiers were stronger, faster, tougher. Humans had evolved on a planet that tried to kill them every day. They could survive in environments that would kill most aliens. They could fight with injuries that would stop other species. They were Death World survivors. The Kreth surrendered quickly after that. They had never fought anyone like humans before. They were terrified. With the battle over, Taemin contacted the Valari station. Elder Kina answered immediately. Her voice was full of emotion. Thank you. Thank you so much. You saved us. You saved 3 million lives. We are happy to help, Taemin said. Can we come aboard? We would like to meet you in person. Kina agreed. A small shuttle brought Jin-Ho, Taemin, Bora, and Sumi to the Valari station. When they stepped through the airlock, they saw the Valari for the first time. The Valari were beautiful. They had smooth skin that changed colors. They were thin and graceful, but they looked fragile, like they might break easily. Elder Kina was the oldest. She walked slowly, supported by younger Valari. The Valari stared at the humans with wide eyes. To them, humans looked big and strong and scary. Human muscles were obvious under their uniforms. Human eyes were sharp and focused. Humans moved with confidence and power. Kina approached Jinho. She was much shorter than him. She looked up at his face. "Captain Jinho," she said, "you and your people saved us from extinction. We owe you everything. But I must ask, what kind of world creates warriors like you?" Jinho was quiet for a moment. Then he answered simply, "A dying one." He explained about Earth, about the sun that grew too hot, about the wars for water and food, about the billions who died, about the last 5 million who escaped on the colony ships. Kina listened with tears in her eyes. "I am so sorry," she whispered. "Your species has suffered so much. Suffering made us strong," Bora said. "Earth was hell. But we survived hell. Now nothing scares us." Sumi stepped forward. She was kinder than Bora. "Do you have wounded? We brought medical supplies. We can help." Kina nodded. She led them through the station. The damage was worse than it looked from outside. Whole sections were destroyed. Thousands of Valari were injured. Many were dead. Sumi and her medical team worked for hours. They did not know Valari biology well, but they tried their best. They saved many lives that day. Meanwhile, Jinho and Tai Min talked with Kina about the galaxy. They learned many things. The galaxy was old, very old. Thousands of species lived among the stars. They were organized into different groups. The Galactic Council tried to keep peace. The Kreth Dominion wanted to conquer everyone. Smaller groups tried to stay neutral and trade with everyone. Humanity was completely unknown. No one knew about Earth. No one knew about the human colony ships. "Until now, what will happen now?" Jinho asked. "The Kreth will tell others about us. Everyone will know humans exist." Kina looked worried. "The Kreth do not forgive losses. They have built their empire on fear. You destroyed 6 of their warships. They will send more, many more. They will want revenge." Bora smiled. It was a cold smile. "Let them come. We will be ready." But Jinho was not so confident. He knew they had been lucky. The Kreth ships they fought were scouts. Light warships. What if the Kreth sent their real military? What if they sent hundreds of ships? Could 9 human colony vessels survive that? As Jinho walked back to the shuttle, he noticed something. The Valari looked at humans with gratitude, but also with fear. They had seen what humans could do. They had seen the violence, the brutality, the killing. Humanity had saved them. But the Valari now understood something important. Humans were dangerous, very dangerous. They were death world predators who had learned to walk among the stars. The galaxy had just learned humanity existed, and the galaxy was afraid. News traveled fast across the galaxy. Within days, every major civilization knew about the humans, the species that destroyed 6 Kreth warships in 12 minutes, the species that came from nowhere and fought like demons, the species from a death world. The Galactic Council called an emergency meeting. Representatives from hundreds of worlds gathered to discuss humanity. Some were curious. Some were afraid. The Kreth representative was furious. "These humans are dangerous," the Kreth representative shouted. "They use forbidden weapons, nuclear missiles, kinetic weapons. They do not follow galactic law. They must be stopped." But Elder Kina was also at the meeting. The Valari had a seat on the council. She spoke for humanity. "The humans saved my people from extinction," Kina said. "They asked for nothing in return. They risked their lives for strangers. That is not the action of a dangerous species. That is the action of heroes." The council debated for hours. Finally, they made a decision. Humanity would not be welcomed into the council yet. But they would not be classified as a threat either. The humans would be watched carefully, studied, evaluated. Meanwhile, in the Kreth Dominion capital, the military leaders were not debating. They were planning revenge. War Marshal Kran was the highest military commander in the Dominion. He was old and powerful. He had conquered 50 worlds in his lifetime. He watched the battle footage from the Valari system over and over. Each time he watched it, he grew angrier. "How did this happen?" Kran demanded. "How did primitives defeat our warships?" His advisors were scared to answer. But one brave officer spoke up. "They fight differently than any species we have encountered," the officer said. "They do not care about conventions. They do not care about honor. They only care about winning." Kran slammed his fist on the table. "Then we will teach them a lesson. Gather a battle fleet, 60 warships. The best crews, the best weapons. We will crush these humans and show the galaxy that no one challenges the Kreth dominion. Back at the Valari station, Jin-Ho received the news about the Kreth battle fleet. 60 ships, all coming for them. He gathered his command crew. Hana looked at the numbers and shook her head. We cannot win this fight, she said. Not directly. We need help. We need allies, but who would help us? Taemin asked. We just arrived in this galaxy. We do not know anyone except the Valari. Elder Kina had an idea. I can share something valuable with you, Kina said. The Valari have been traders and record keepers for millions of years. We have databases with information about every known civilization. Their technology, their history, their weaknesses. This knowledge could help you, Jin-Ho accepted gratefully. Taemin and his team started downloading the Valari databases. It would take weeks to translate everything, but what they learned immediately was important. The galaxy was old and tired. Most civilizations had stopped innovating centuries ago. They followed the same rules. They used the same weapons. They fought the same way. That was why the Kreth had been so successful. They were willing to be more brutal than everyone else. But humans were different. Humans were new. They did not know the rules. They did not care about traditions. They only cared about survival. Commander Bora took charge of preparing for the coming battle. She woke up more soldiers from cryosleep. She trained them. She turned sections of the colony ships into weapons factories. Human engineers started building more missiles, more ammunition, more bombs. The Valari helped too. They showed humans how to make better shields, how to improve sensors, how to communicate across long distances. The two species started working together, learning from each other. Then something unexpected happened. A ship arrived at the Valari station. It was not Kreth, it was not human. It was something else. Something new. The ship sent a message. It carried an ambassador from the Kalesh Confederation. The Kalesh were a powerful group of merchant worlds. They stayed neutral in most conflicts. They traded with everyone. They were rich and influential. Ambassador Len Ri came aboard the Aurora to meet Jin-Ho. She was old, very old. Her species could live for thousands of years. She had seen empires rise and fall. She smiled at Jin-Ho with ancient eyes. Captain Jin-Ho, Len Ri said, you and your people are very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Jin-Ho was suspicious. He did not trust easy smiles and friendly words. Not anymore, what do you want? Jin-Ho asked. Len Ri laughed. It was not a mean laugh. Just amused direct, I like that. Most species waste hours with polite conversation. Very well, I will be direct too. The Kalesh Confederation wants to offer humanity an alliance. We will provide you with information about the Kreth fleet. We will help you politically at the Galactic Council. In exchange, you will provide military protection for Confederation worlds that need it. Jin-Ho thought about this. It sounded too good. There had to be a catch. Why would you help us? We are strangers. We have nothing to offer you. Len Ri's smile faded. She became serious. You have something very valuable, Captain. You have unpredictability. The galaxy has become stagnant, boring, predictable. Every conflict follows the same patterns, the same rules. Then you arrive. You break all the rules. You win battles that should be impossible. That makes you useful to us. The Kreth have been growing too powerful. We need someone to challenge them. Someone they cannot predict or control. So you want to use us as weapons, Jin-Ho said. You want us to fight your battles? Len Ri shrugged. Is that so different from what you are already doing? You fought for the Valari, strangers you had never met. At least with us, you get something in return. Jin-Ho discussed the offer with his crew. They argued for hours. Some thought it was a good deal. Some thought the Kalesh could not be trusted. Finally, Jin-Ho made a decision. We will not join your confederation, Jin-Ho told Len Ri, but we will accept limited cooperation. You give us information about the Kreth fleet. We defend Confederation worlds near our location. That is all. Len Ri considered this. Then she nodded. Acceptable. I will send you everything we know about the Kreth battle fleet. Good luck, Captain. You will need it. The Kalesh information arrived quickly. It was detailed and accurate. The Kreth battle fleet had 60 warships. Each one was much bigger and more powerful than the scouts humanity had fought before. The fleet was led by War Marshal Kran himself. He was bringing his flagship, the Eternal Conquest. It was a massive dreadnought that could destroy planets. The fleet would arrive in 10 days. 10 days to prepare. 10 days to figure out how to survive. 10 days before the biggest battle humanity had ever fought. Jinho called a meeting with all the human ship captains. They needed to decide their strategy. Some captains wanted to run, some wanted to hide, but most wanted to fight. "We cannot run," Bora said. "If we run now, we will be running forever. The Kreth will hunt us. They will never stop. Better to make our stand here." "But how do we fight 60 warships with only 9 colony ships?" a captain asked. Hana had been working on something. She showed them her plan. It was crazy. It was dangerous. It was insane. But it might work. The human faster-than-light drives were different from Kreth drives. Human drives were unstable, dangerous. They ripped holes in space, but that instability could be weaponized. If they modified the drives, they could create gravitational anomalies. These anomalies would disrupt Kreth wormholes. They could disable entire sections of the Kreth fleet. There was one problem. The ship that created the anomaly would probably be destroyed. The gravitational forces would tear it apart. The bridge went silent. Everyone understood what that meant. Someone would have to sacrifice themselves. Bora stood up. "My ship will do it," she said. "When the time comes, I will create the anomaly." No one argued with her. They all knew Bora. She was a warrior. She would do what needed to be done. The next 10 days were busy. Everyone worked. Engineers built new weapons. Soldiers trained. Medical teams prepared for casualties. The Velari helped however they could. They gave humans access to their advanced medical technology. They shared their knowledge. A bond formed between humans and Velari. They were different species, from different worlds, but they shared something important. They both refused to surrender. They both chose to fight. On the 10th day, sensors detected the Kreth battle fleet. 60 massive warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. They were huge, terrifying, beautiful in a deadly way. War Marshal Kran sent a message to the human fleet. His voice was cold and confident. "Humans, you have one chance to surrender. Become client species of the Kreth Dominion. Serve us or die. Choose now." Jinho looked at his crew. Hana was scared but determined. Taemin was nervous but brave. Sumi was sad but ready. Bora was smiling. Always smiling before a fight. Jinho opened a channel to Kran. His voice was clear and strong. Humanity did not survive the death of Earth to kneel before tyrants. "Come and take our lives if you can. We will make you regret it," Kran laughed. It was a sound without humor. "So be it. You have chosen death." The Kreth battle fleet began to advance. Slowly, carefully, like a predator approaching its prey. The human fleet prepared. Weapons charged. Shields activated. Soldiers said goodbye to their families still sleeping in cryopods. The greatest battle in human history was about to begin. The Kreth battle fleet opened fire. 60 warships unleashed their weapons at once. The space around the Velari station lit up like a small sun. Plasma beams, antimatter torpedoes, and energy missiles filled the dark. The human ships took the hits. Their armor glowed red from the heat. Metal screamed. Hull plates buckled. But they held. They always held. Earth had taught humans how to build things that could survive anything. "Return fire," Bora ordered. The human fleet fought back. But this time was different. The Kreth were ready. They had learned from their first defeat. They maintained distance. They coordinated their attacks. They avoided getting too close to the human ships. War Marshal Kran was smarter than his subordinates. He kept his fleet spread out. He rotated which ships took damage. He was fighting a battle of attrition, slowly wearing the humans down, and it was working. One human colony ship took a direct hit from an antimatter torpedo. The explosion tore a massive hole in its side. Thousands of cryopods were exposed to space. Thousands of sleeping humans died instantly, frozen, never waking up. Emergency bulkheads sealed. The ship survived. But it was badly hurt. Too hurt to keep fighting effectively. Sumi coordinated rescue efforts. Her medical teams worked frantically, saving who they could. But there were so many casualties, too many. She had to make horrible choices. Which sections to save? Which sections to abandon? Which people lived? Which people died? On the Aurora Bridge, Hana monitored the damage reports. Her hands shook as she read the numbers. 3 ships are critically damaged. 2 more are severely hurt. We cannot keep this up much longer. Jinho knew she was right. They were losing. Slowly but surely. The Kreth had too many ships. Too much firepower. Human bravery was not enough. Human technology was not enough. They needed something more. The Valari helped however they could. Their sensor arrays tracked every Kreth ship. They fed real-time data to human tactical computers. Valari engineers worked with human engineers to keep damaged systems running. But it was not enough. The battle entered its third hour. Then its fourth. Then its sixth. Time became meaningless. There was only the constant fighting. The constant death. The constant struggle to survive. On the Eternal Conquest, War Marshal Kran watched with satisfaction. The humans were tough. Tougher than any species he had ever fought. But they were not invincible. They would break, eventually. Then Hana made her discovery. While analyzing captured Kreth technology, she found something important. The Kreth faster-than-light drives all used the same frequency. They were networked together. If one drive was disrupted, it would affect nearby drives. She contacted Jinho immediately. "Captain, I have a plan. It is dangerous. Very dangerous. But it might work." Jinho listened. The plan was insane, suicidal. But what choice did they have? They were already dying slowly. At least this way they could hit back hard. "Do it," Jinho ordered. Bora had been waiting for this moment. Her ship, the Defiant, was already damaged. Parts of it were on fire. Many of her crew were dead. But the engine still worked. The modified drive still worked. She gave her crew one order: evacuate everyone to the escape pods. Go now, that is an order. Her crew did not want to leave her, but Bora was their commander. They obeyed. One by one, escape pods launched from the Defiant. Carrying her crew to safety, Bora stayed on the bridge, alone. She looked at the Kreth fleet on her screens. So many ships, so much power. But they had made one mistake. They had come too close together. They thought they were safe. They were wrong. The Defiant accelerated, straight toward the center of the Kreth formation, straight toward the Eternal Conquest. The Kreth focused their fire on the Defiant. They could see it was damaged. They thought it was a desperate suicide run. They were right, but they did not understand what kind of suicide run it was. Bora got close, very close, right in the middle of the Kreth fleet. Then she activated the modified drive. Reality broke. Space twisted. Gravity went insane. The modified human drive created a massive gravitational anomaly. It reached out like invisible hands, grabbing Kreth drives, crushing them, collapsing the delicate wormholes the Kreth used for faster-than-light travel. 5 Kreth warships simply vanished, pulled into unstable wormholes that collapsed on themselves. 10 more suffered catastrophic drive failures. Their engines exploded from inside. They went dark, drifting, dead in space. The Eternal Conquest was thrown off course. Its shields failed. Its systems overloaded. For the first time in the battle, War Marshal Kran felt fear. The Defiant did not survive. The gravitational forces tore the ship apart. Metal screamed. Hull plates ripped away. The ship broke into pieces. On the bridge, Bora felt everything shake. She knew this was the end. She smiled one last time. A warrior's smile. Then everything went white. Commander Bora was dead, but her sacrifice saved the fleet. The human ships pressed their advantage. With 15 Kreth vessels destroyed or disabled, the odds were better. Not good, but better. They attacked with renewed fury. Railguns hammered damaged Kreth ships. Missiles found targets. Human fighter craft swarmed like angry insects. Kran tried to restore order, but his fleet was in chaos. The gravitational weapon had broken their formation. Ships were scattered. Communication was disrupted. He had lost control. The battle was being watched. The Kalesh had spy ships at the edge of the system. They recorded everything. They broadcast it across the galaxy. Everyone could see. The mighty Kreth Dominion was being hurt. Badly hurt. By a species no one had heard of 3 weeks ago. Other species watched too. Species that the Kreth had conquered. Species that lived in fear of the Kreth. They saw humans fighting. They saw humans winning. And they began to hope. On the Aurora, Jinho made a decision. They could not win by fighting defensively. They had to be aggressive. They had to be ruthless. They had to be human. All ships advanced, Jinho ordered. Close the distance. Show them what Death World warriors can do. The human ships charged forward, into the Kreth fleet. It was madness. It was suicide. It was glorious. They rammed damaged Kreth vessels. They fired at point-blank range. They used their ships as weapons. The Kreth had never seen anything like this. Civilized species did not fight this way. They did not sacrifice themselves. They did not use their colony ships as battering rams. But humans were not civilized. Not by galactic standards. They were survivors from a world that tried to kill them every day. And survivors did whatever it took to live. Cran realized he was beaten. Not destroyed, but beaten. He had lost 23 warships. Many more were damaged. The humans were down to 6 functional ships, but those 6 ships were still fighting like demons. If he continued, he might lose his entire fleet, including his flagship. For the first time in his long military career, War Marshal Cran gave an order he never thought he would give. Retreat. All ships retreat. We withdraw from this system, but Cran was not done. He was angry, humiliated. He ordered one final attack, not on the human ships, on the Valari station. He fired all his remaining missiles at the civilian sections, at the families, at the children. A final act of spite. The human ships saw the missiles coming. There was no time to intercept them all. They would reach the station. They would kill millions of Valari, unless someone blocked them. 3 human colony ships moved. They positioned themselves between the missiles and the station. They took the hits meant for the Valari. Explosions tore through their hulls. Thousands more humans died in cryosleep, never knowing they had died as heroes. But the Valari station survived. 3 million Valari lives were saved. By humans they had only known for a few weeks. By humans who chose to sacrifice themselves for strangers. The Kreth fleet retreated. They jumped to faster than light speed and disappeared. The battle was over. On the Aurora, Jin Ho looked at the casualty reports. Commander Bora was dead. 27,000 humans were confirmed killed. 4 colony ships were barely functional. Many more thousands were injured, but they had won. Against impossible odds, they had won. They had driven back the Kreth Dominion. They had protected the Valari. They had shown the galaxy that humanity would not be prey. Elder Kina sent a message to all the human ships. Her voice was full of emotion. You saved us, again. You lost so much to save us. We will never forget. The Valari will never forget what humans did today. You are more than allies. You are family. Messages came from across the galaxy, from species the humans had never met. Congratulations. Offers of trade, requests for alliances. Everyone wanted to know more about these incredible Death World warriors. But Jin Ho felt no joy, only sadness. He had won a great victory, but the cost was terrible. Too many dead, too many wounded, too many families destroyed. He walked to the observation deck. He looked out at the stars, at the damaged ships, at the debris field where Bora had died, and he wondered. Was this humanity's future? Constant fighting, constant war, constant death? Or could they build something better? Something worth all the sacrifice? Only time would tell. 3 weeks after the battle, the Valari system had changed completely. Ships from dozens of civilizations came to see the humans, to trade, to talk, to make alliances. The quiet corner of space had become the busiest place in the galaxy. Captain Jin Ho spent his days meeting ambassadors. He was tired. He wanted to be an explorer, not a politician, but humanity needed him. So he did his duty. Medical Director Sumi coordinated relief efforts. Medical ships from the Kalesh Confederation arrived with supplies and doctors. They helped treat the wounded. They shared advanced technology. Slowly, the human casualties were stabilized. Many would survive who might have died. The dead were honored. A memorial was built on the Valari station. Every human name was engraved on the walls. Commander Bora's name was at the top. 27,000 names. 27,000 people who died far from Earth, who would never see a new home, but who died protecting others. That meant something. The Galactic Council met again. This time the debate was different. The humans had proven themselves. They had defeated the Kreth. They had protected the weak. Some council members wanted to offer humanity immediate membership. Others were still afraid. But no one could deny that humans mattered now. Ambassador Len Ri of the Kalesh Confederation spoke for humanity. She was clever and persuasive. She reminded the council that humans had used forbidden weapons only to defend themselves, that they had sacrificed their own people to save Valari civilians, that they had shown more honor in 3 weeks than some council members had shown in centuries. The council voted. It was close. But humanity was granted provisional status. They could attend council meetings. They could trade freely. But they were not full members yet. They would be watched, tested, evaluated. Jinho did not care much about council politics. He had bigger problems. His fleet was damaged. His people were hurting. And he had to make a decision about their future. The 3 colony ships that had left before the first battle returned. They had monitored everything from a safe distance. They brought fresh supplies, fresh personnel, and hope. They also brought something else. Survey data on potential colony worlds. Places where humans could settle. Places where they could finally rest. Jinho called a fleet-wide meeting. Every human who was awake could attend. They gathered in meeting halls, on ship bridges, in medical bays. Millions still slept in cryopods. But those who were awake would decide for everyone. Jinho explained the choice. They could leave. Find an empty world far from galactic politics. Build a new Earth. Live in peace. Or they could stay. Help the Volari rebuild. Form alliances. Become part of the galactic community. Fight when necessary. Protect the weak. The debate lasted for 3 days. Families argued. Friends disagreed. Some people wanted peace after so much war. Some people felt a duty to help others like the Volari. Some people were afraid. Some people were brave. Finally, they voted. Every person got 1 vote. It was the most important decision in human history since leaving Earth. The results came in. 62% voted to stay. It was not unanimous, but it was clear. Humanity would remain in the Volari system. They would build something new here, an alliance, a community, a future. The 38% who voted to leave were not abandoned. 3 colony ships would take them to a new world. 1 million humans who wanted a quiet life. Jinho gave them his blessing. He understood. Not everyone was made for constant struggle. The departing ships left with ceremony and sadness. Humanity was splitting. But both groups would survive. Both groups would thrive. Just in different ways. With the decision made, Jinho and Elder Kina announced something new. The Outer Rim Alliance. A mutual defense pact. Any species could join if they agreed to 3 simple rules. Defend yourselves, defend your allies, never attack the innocent. The Kalesh Confederation recognized the alliance immediately. They offered trade agreements and technology exchanges. 5 smaller species that had been oppressed by the Kreth asked to join. Even some Galactic Council members expressed cautious support. The alliance would not be an empire like the Kreth. It would not be a bureaucracy like the Council. It would be something new. A group of free peoples who chose to work together. Who protected each other. Who believed that the strong should defend the weak, not exploit them. Hana took charge of building permanent structures in the Volari system. Shipyards where they could repair damaged vessels and build new ones. Defense platforms to protect against future attacks. Trading posts where different species could meet and exchange goods. She worked with Volari engineers. They learned from each other. Human durability combined with Volari precision created something beautiful. Ships that were tough and elegant. Stations that were functional and artistic. Taemin became humanity's first ambassador to the Kalesh Confederation. He was young, but he learned fast. He understood that galactic politics was like chess. You had to think many moves ahead. You had to know when to fight and when to talk. Sumi established the Alliance Medical Academy. Doctors from dozens of species came to learn. Human emergency medicine, Volari regenerative technology, Kalesh surgical techniques. They shared knowledge freely, because healing should never be kept secret. Jinho stepped down as fleet captain. The crisis was over. Now they needed civilian leadership. Elections were held. A council was formed. Jinho remained as military advisor. But the decisions about humanity's future would be made by everyone, not just one tired soldier. Life slowly returned to something like normal. Children who had been sleeping in cryopods were awakened. They had left Earth as children, and now woke as colonists in an alien system. They went to school alongside young Valari. They learned 2 languages, 2 cultures. They were the first generation to grow up truly galactic. 1 year after the battle, a ceremony was held. On the anniversary of Commander Bora's sacrifice, thousands gathered at the memorial, humans and Valari together. Some Kalesh attended too, and representatives from species that humans had never met. Elder Kina spoke about sacrifice and hope, about how sometimes the bravest thing is not surviving, but choosing what you will die for, about how Bora and the 27,000 others had died so that millions could live. Jinho spoke too. He talked about Earth, about the world they lost, about the guilt he carried, about wondering if they had done enough to save it, about learning that you cannot change the past. You can only build a better future. Military ships from the Alliance performed a flyby. Human vessels and Valari vessels and ships from 5 other species, flying in formation. The formation spelled out a word, remember, in multiple languages, so that no one would forget what had been sacrificed. After the ceremony, Jinho stood on an observation deck. Elder Kina found him there. She walked slowly now. Age was catching up with her. But her mind was still sharp, her spirit still strong. "Do you have regrets?" Kina asked. Jinho thought about this for a long time. "Many," he finally said. "I regret that we did not save Earth. I regret every person who died under my command. I regret that peace seems impossible. But I do not regret answering your distress call. I do not regret fighting for something bigger than ourselves." Kina smiled. "The galaxy needed you," she said. "Needed a reminder that change is possible, that new peoples with new ideas can still emerge, that the old powers do not control everything. You gave us hope, Jinho, not just the Valari, everyone." They watched ships coming and going. The Valari system was alive with activity now. Trade vessels, passenger ships, military patrols, a new hub of civilization. "What happens now?" Kina asked. "What is your future?" Jinho shrugged. "We build, we learn, we grow, we defend those who need defending, we make alliances with good people, we raise our children to be better than we were. That is all anyone can do." They stood together in comfortable silence, 2 leaders from 2 different worlds, both tired, both hopeful, both committed to building something worth the sacrifice. The Kreth Dominion still existed, still threatened, but they had lost territory to rebellions. Species they had conquered were fighting for freedom. The Dominion was declining, not quickly, but steadily. The galaxy was changing. Humanity had changed too. They were no longer refugees fleeing a dying world. They were citizens of the galaxy, defenders of the Alliance, friends to the Valari, feared by the Kreth, respected by the Kalesh, known by everyone. Children born in the Valari system would never know Earth. They would grow up under alien stars. They would have friends of different species. They would speak multiple languages. They would be something new, not just human, but galactic. Jinho thought about this often, about how his generation had fled Earth in desperation, about how the next generation would grow up among the stars, about how humans had gone from hiding in the dark to standing in the light, from being unknown to being feared and respected, from being victims to being heroes. It had cost so much. 27,000 lives, countless injuries, 4 badly damaged ships, Commander Bora's sacrifice, the memory of Earth burning, the guilt of those they could not save, but they had gained something too. Purpose, community, allies, a place in the galaxy, a future worth fighting for. As Jinho left the observation deck, he passed a group of children, human and Valari, playing together, laughing, not caring that they were from different worlds, just happy to be alive.